All right, y'all. Episode 8. Yo, Rock is stone cold as fuck. She is. How the fuck you walk up to Saul? Just basically tell him, like, that's what we do. I'm that nigga. So basically, yeah, rest in peace, your boy, but I ain't giving up my brother. Fuck you. I say, yo, Rock, you need to chill. You need to chill. Rock, you going off. Chill. Yo. Okay. So the first part of it, she had to approach Palomar because of what she did. Now, everyone can say that you can call her W moms, you can say whatever because that's what she is. Now, I understand, even though I was with everyone else, because I'm like, Palomar and Kanan, I mean, that's kind of crazy, but when you think about it, it's fair because Kanan is still technically a child, and she was right for what she did. That's the one thing everyone can say, that she was right for what she did, because obviously Palomar is an adult, Kanan is still a child, and then if the roles was in the reverse, everybody be like, oh, we want to burn this man to the ground if it was a underage, you know what I mean? But yo, oh god, but yo, that shit was kind of crazy. I was happy that Kanan finally read the letter at the end. I was like, yo, when is he gonna read the letter? When is he gonna? Well, not the letter, but the the birth certificate, like the test results. Like, I was wondering when he was gonna read this. So he finally read it at the end after everything, and he found out that, okay, I guess it really just hit him now. Like, Malcolm Howard is his father. So I'm like, okay, yes, he finally read it. So I'm like, good, because when he was at Famous's house, and Famous was like going through his stuff, and he's like, oh, you going through my stuff? And he's like, hey, who is this guy? And he's just like, it's DEF CON, right? So Rock just basically blanched DEF CON's name, as she had to, because that was her job, to just blancher it like DEF CON. And then it was like, DEF CON is Kanan's father, but that's not true at all. So I was like, okay, like, that shit was just kind of like nuts to me. But I'm happy that he finally learned. So now it's going to be interesting to see, because now Kanan's starting to think for himself, because he's like, when he was asking her these questions when they was in the kitchen, he's like, oh, there's some things that's going on, because he was pissed at, the whole Palomar thing. Now, the one thing they always say is, when you take something really good from a child, that child is going to flip out and sometimes rebel if the child isn't put in its proper place. Now, Kanan is he's not an adult, but he's well enough to understand some things, and you have this grown woman who's putting it down on him, and he like, listen, what she was doing to me, as he said, he was like, it's not like I was complaining about it. Hey, man. And at the time, it was like, it's kind of wrong, but, he was going through the motions with, Rock and stuff, and Rock was just like, is there anything else you need to tell me? He's like, nah, man, nice house. And that's when he left. I was like, okay. And Rock is kind of like, she fucked up here. She's thinking about this, because she's like, she fucked up here. Kanan is moving along. And as we seen that conversation move over to, like, Jukebox, where Jukebox and him, they was talking about it. He was just like, nah, man, this love shit that she's doing is some ill shit. I don't know. I don't think I could be down with this. It just doesn't, it don't feel right at what she's doing. Like, it seems like it's more harm than love. Like, it's more fucked upness than love and what she's doing. So I'm like, hey, got a point there. You got a really strong point there. Now, fucking Jukebox, oh my god, that shit, when the pastor, Kenya was fucked up for this. Because she was like, oh, now, okay, I totally forgot that, they was still going to school, because, in season 1, we seen them with bags and going to school, because when Rock, after what she did with Palomar, and she was so famous, oh, you need to go to school. I'm like, wait a minute, are they still going to school in this story? Because I was like, you see more of the adult stuff, but you don't really hear them too much talk about school stuff until I saw Jukebox. She, like, had her old school clothes on in a bag. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, they're still going to school. I'm like, okay. So she was in this woman's house, and the pastor gonna sit, like, basically had her down, not tied her down, but had her restrained and had her watching the tube, like, oh, this is what a man and woman should do. But you see like two women in jail getting it on. That's a sin and you gonna burn in hell. I was like, oh shit. And then whipping the shit out of her, and she looking at Kenya and she's like, we gonna get that devil out of you. I'm like, oh shit. Because I was like, wait a minute. I thought that Kenya and Jukebox was gonna have like an understanding, but I don't know, like I kind of missed it because I'm like, wait a minute. In the last episode, Kenya was looking at Jukebox and she was with that guy. So I'm thinking like, oh, I guess like I thought it was fine, but I'm like, wait a minute, when did that story ever come up of Kenya knowing that Jukebox was gay? I'm lost. Like somebody has to tell me this in the comments, because I'm like, it wasn't clarified that she knew. It like, I don't know, like I felt like that part just kind of got put in there, and then she's in the chair and they whipping the shit out of her, talking about you gonna burn in hell. I was like, okay. Now that scene, when all of that was happening, kind of brought up some triggering memories for your boy. So quick story time. So I had to been like maybe 10 or 9 years old. So at the time, mother took me to the church. It was like, oh yeah, you gonna get baptized. So it was just me and two of my god brothers, right? So, oh boy, we always in white. And it was just like, oh yeah. So two of my god brothers went in to get baptized. See, and they seemed like they was fine, mind you. This was like we were maybe 9-10 years old, right? 9-10 years old. Then it was my turn. So he was like, oh okay. He was like, had me take off my glasses and everything. So I'm like, okay. And then had me down. And he said, oh, in the name of the Father. I was like fighting to like, cause I felt like I was being drowned in there. He's like, oh, we gonna baptize you and this and that. Now, mind you, they didn't tell you have to hold your breath to do this. I ain't hold nothing, so I'm like, I'm in there fucking kicking and shit. And mother's like, yeah, he's praising the Lord. He's praising the Lord. I'm saying in my mind, I ain't praising no Lord. I'm drowning in this shit. So I was like, yo, help like that. He's like, in the name of the Lord, and Jesus Christ, so in the name of the Lord. I was like, yo, get off of me. And then that's when it was over. I looked at him. I wanted to beat his ass, but I couldn't do nothing. He was like, yeah, the Holy Lord got you. I wanted to beat his ass. I looked at him, 10 years old, full of rage. I wanted to beat his ass, but then I was like, okay, I was like, all right, but it was over. But how Jukebox was feeling in that chair, it brought up some memories. It brought up some memories. I said, ooh, I understand. But okay, story time is over. So, Shannon and the whole Detective Howard thing. I like how the fact that it was like, yo, Shannon was basically, what was that shit he said? Oh, because the father said that he wasn't dropping, Nicole's father wasn't dropping anything. Like, there's still like the whole investigation that was going on. And that she basically was giving drugs to girls. And fucking, what else he said? Not sex with girls, but it's just like giving drugs. So I'm like, okay. And then that kind of got brought up. So I'm like, wait a minute. Where's Detective Howard like trying to swing here? Like, is he trying to paint like a narrative that, oh, she's this cop that's trying to seduce underage girls? Is that the narrative that he's trying to go with? I mean, we're going to see how that goes. I am a little curious on how this is going to go, because remember, Shannon's still looking for Jukebox in his favor. So I'm like, this could probably like turn around and bite Detective Howard in the ass though. But seems like he's trying to put this narrative that, oh, maybe she's giving drugs. She was the reason why Nicole died and this and that. So I'm like, I'm curious where this is going to go. This little rabbit hole that Detective Howard is building, I am kind of curious where this is going to go. Quite interesting. And then you got Unique. Unique is basically being Peacemaker. No. I am so sorry. He is not being Peacemaker. He's just the guy. He's the guy in the middle that's like, hey, okay, I know all the answers. Personally, I thought this episode, I really thought that this was going to be Unique's little ticket of being like, okay, he get the Dominic first, kill him, and then be like, okay, now y'all owe me this deal, or else I go tell Saul. I thought it was gonna be like that, but I guess not. It seems like it's gonna be a full-on war after what Rock did, and she didn't even, break bread with Sal, I should say. Didn't break bread with him, and was like, oh, I'm not killing Marvin. I'm not doing any of that shit. So now at the end, when Marvin was with, I guess, Renee, I guess when he was with her at the end, and that's when Jimmy and the other Italian guy was like, hey, Marvin, and they shot him. So I don't know if this is like in season 2, Marvin dies. I hope he didn't die. I want Marvin to live. I don't want him to die. I don't want, even though something could happen in the future, but I don't want him to die in season 2. I'm hoping that Renee was the one that got shot. They missed, shot Renee, or Marvin did get hit, but I don't know. I hope that Marvin is still alive. I don't want him to be dead. And seeing what off of basically, now this is on two people's decisions, because not only did Marvin fuck up because he had Marco and Dominic do the job, and Saul is very pissed about this, even though it all could have been resolved if Rock would have been like, okay, I'm gonna give you Marvin, or I'm gonna do something, like to do something to be like, okay, break bread with him. But now she's like, fuck that, I ain't doing nothing. I'm like, yo, Rock, what the fuck? Yo, it's gonna be a full-on war. So it's all playing into like Unique's favor. It all is, or everything is. So now, since it's gonna be a full-on war, there's a lot that's gonna happen. So Rock's gonna have to Rock is gonna sacrifice a lot. She's gonna sacrifice a lot. She's gonna lose. It seems like this season, as with maybe a lot of other YouTubers have covered, and as a lot of people have said, that Rock is losing this season. Everything that's happening right now with Rock, she is completely losing this season. And then to top it off, at the end, Crown Camacho's body has been found. So I'm like, oh great, Lulu did a fucking horrible job on trying to hide the body. I'm like, oh great, Lulu, great, you did an excellent job on hiding the body. So I'm like, now the fact that everyone knows Crown is dead. So, and they said you had the cops. He was like, bulletproof records. 50, now we stop. But bulletproof records. So it was like, oh, so now we have to investigate bulletproof records. So somebody's gonna go to jail, somebody's gonna get blamed for this, and a lot of fuck shit is gonna happen. So I'm like, Lulu dug himself into the grave by killing Crown and doing a horrible job on hiding the body. Marvin fucked up by hiring Marco and Dominic to do the job, which Dominic killed Marco, and now everything's falling apart. And basically Raquel, she basically does the most horrible ghost impression on making deals. She's terrible at it. It's like she's thinking head first, headstrong, everything. I mean, if this was in another lifetime, her versus Ghost, Ghost is most likely would win. Like when it comes down to like strategy, Ghost would win, because she's too headstrong. She doesn't have any strategy. She's not planning things out. She's not doing anything to smooth over a deal. So is basically this, I guess the next couple of episodes is gonna be full on war. A lot of shit that's gonna happen this season, well, the rest of the season, and I cannot wait. But post your comments down below. What do you think of episode 8 of season 2 of Raising Kanan? Like, let me know what y'all think, because this there's a lot. This was basically everything in your face, just a lot of shit. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you all in the next one.